Alright guys, it's now time for part 2 of me talking about my favorite 90s comedies. And still got a few more DVDs left before we get on to the VHSs, but the next one, let's put these up here. Next one I picked is another satirization of an old TV series, and almost everybody's familiar with this, and it's the Little Rascals movie from 1994, and this movie has, I also have this on VHS as well, but this movie had so many cool child actors, and a lot of them never did anything else, didn't do much of anything else, but I don't know if any of them are still acting anymore, but a lot of people I know talk about this. My family talks about it, my friends talk about it, a lot of people at school talked about it, and yeah, this was one of the most popular family films in 1994, especially with the I got a dollar, I got a dollar, I got a dollar, yeah, 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 yeah. That was after this movie came out, everybody was quoting that line. And the next one is one of the very few family-friendly things that Chevy Chase did. I know he's done quite a few family-friendly things, but this is, I'll start Jonathan Taylor Thomas, but this is Man of the House. And this also stars Farrah Fawcett and George Wendt. But this is basically about Jonathan Taylor Thomas. It's just been him living with his mom for most of his life because his dad left. And then his mom, Farrah Fawcett, met Chevy Chase's character, who's a lawyer, and they end up getting engaged to each other, and then Chevy Chase moves in with them, and in order for Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Chevy Chase to get to know each other a little better, they join the YMCA Indian Guides, and they just end up falling in love with that program, and apparently Chevy Chase and Jonathan Taylor Thomas were having a good relationship with each other because Chevy Chase really wants to marry the mom. It's really, and before that, before they even joined the Indian Guides, Jonathan Taylor Thomas was trying to get rid of Chevy Chase's character, but this is another funny film. And the next two are the Problem Child films, Problem Child 1 and 2. There was also a third film, Problem Child 3, Junior in Love, but that one's only released in the UK. They need to bring it here to America, because I saw that movie. It was just alright. A lot of people hated it. Only 2 actors returned for that one, but the Problem Child 1 and 2 are definitely ones worth checking out. And yeah. When it comes to John Ritter movies, these are definitely my favorites. And I know a lot of people hate these movies with a vengeance, but I really love them. They're just really funny. Big part of my childhood. And the next one is a baseball comedy that I'm sure everybody's familiar with, and it's The Sandlot. And 3 years ago, it celebrated its 20th anniversary. And it came out on Blu-ray. And yeah, there's so many great classic quotes in this movie, like "You're killing me, Smalls." It had the s'mores scene, and it had "You play ball like a girl," the argument scene, and the carnival ride scene. This is an awesome movie. If anybody out there hasn't seen this movie, you must be under a rock. And next is South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, which is the movie they did 2 years after the show came out. And yeah, this is a really funny movie. If you're a South Park fan, you definitely gotta check this out. The next two I picked are both the Wayne's World films, Wayne's World 1 and 2. and I can't really decide which one's my favorite. I equally like them both because, you know, they're just awesome films. Okay, that's it for the DVDs, and let me just get them moved here. Hold on a second. I think I'll just move them behind me. Okay, hold on. One second. Yeah. Not really my best stacking job, but okay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Now for the VHSs, and the first two are the Addams Family films, The Addams Family and The Addams Family Values. And The Addams Family is another great movie. Excuse me. Another great comedy based off of the satirizing the TV series, but out of both of them, I think I like Addams Family Values a little bit better because it had to deal with Wednesday and Pugsley being sent away to camp and them getting treated terribly at camp, and then that one kid falls in love with Wednesday, and Uncle Fester being married to that one chick, Joan Cusack. But yeah, here's the films I'd recommend too. There was also a third film, Addams Family Reunion, but that one is not very good. And apparently it's from Warner Brothers too, because there's a preview for it on my VHS of Dennis the Menace Strikes Again. And next is Beavis and Butthead Do America, and today is actually the 24th year anniversary of when Beavis and Butthead came to TV, so... And the show is really funny, and this is a funny movie too. It's about Beavis and Butthead getting their TV stolen, and while trying to get it back, they get pulled into a hotel by this criminal. And they were going to be paying him $1 million to do his wife, or I don't know how much money it was. I know it was like thousands of dollars to do his wife. So they go to Las Vegas where she's at, and then she boards a plane to Washington D.C. And so Beavis and Butthead have to go all across America to try to find her and try to score, basically, is what they call it. But very funny movie if you're a Beavis and Butthead fan like me. And next is one of the few Rick Moranis movies that I'm going to show in this, but it also stars Tom Arnold, and it's Big Bully from 1996. And a lot of people give Tom Arnold a lot of crap. A lot of people really hate Tom Arnold, but I like him. I think he's pretty funny. It's about Rick Moranis' character who lived in this town when he was a kid, and Tom Arnold's character as a kid played a bully of his, and then when he stole the moon rock, Rick Moranis' character as a kid told on him. And then the bully got sent away to like a military school for stealing, and then years later, as an adult, Rick Moranis moves back to that town to become a teacher at the high school or junior high school. I'm not sure, but then he finds out that Tom Arnold, the bully, was working there as a shop teacher, and they start like a prank war with one another. It's a really funny movie. One of my favorite Rick Moranis movies, and I wish Rick Moranis would really come back to acting. He hasn't done a movie in over 20 years because he's taking care of his kids, he's taking care of his family, but hopefully one day he'll reconsider coming back to doing at least one more movie. That's what I'd really like to see. And then next is another Adam Sandler comedy. I talked about Billy Madison in the previous part, but this is Big Daddy, which isn't, in my opinion, another one of Adam Sandler's best movies. I know a lot of people really hate Adam Sandler these days, but I like him. I don't have any problem with him. He's one of my favorite comedians growing up, and he still is today. But this is about Adam Sandler, who's who basically is an irresponsible adult who doesn't have like a very well-paid job, and one day a 5-year-old kid shows up at his doorstep, and he doesn't know what to do with him. He tries calling child services to take care of him, but they're taking a really long time to get back to him, so he has to take care of the kid himself. And then he falls in love with him and he wants to adopt him as his son. And yeah, this is another funny Adam Sandler movie. Probably in my top 5. And then the next one is another Disney comedy, and it's Blank Check, and it's from 1994, and it's about this kid who didn't get very much money for his birthday, so and when he can't deposit his money in the bank, like when he goes on a trip to the bank to try to deposit, they can't do it. And then when he's trying to get out of the bank, his bike gets ruined by this criminal, and he gives him a check and forgets to write out the amount. And then when the kid realizes it's a blank check, he writes it for $1 million and runs away. And for some reason, with the amount of stuff that he was buying, I don't think it's worth $1 million. Like, he buys a castle, he buys water slides, he buys a racetrack, a sumo wrestling set, a virtual reality gaming set. Like, in real life, you wouldn't really get that much for $1 million. I mean, it's just not possible with the way the economy is these days. And the next one I picked is a Steve Martin comedy, Father of the Bride. There's also Father of the Bride Part 2 from 1995, I think, 95, 96, somewhere around there. But I saw that. That wasn't as good, but this one is just a really awesome movie. I think it's one of Steve Martin's best. And then the next one is, this is going to be the last VHS before we stop here, by the way, is the Flintstones live action movie from 1994. I know a lot of people really hated this movie, but I liked it. It's a childhood favorite of mine. It's basically about Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble, who work at a Slating Company, and when they find out about an executive placement program, they take an aptitude test, and Barney got the highest score, and Fred got the lowest score, but Barney switches the tests around, so Fred is mistaken for a vice president of Slating Company. So, and then Barney and Fred become enemies, and this is another one to check out. If you like the original show, then you should check out the live action movie. It's pretty similar. Alright guys, that's it for part 3. For part 2, stay tuned for part 3.